Motorcycle psychology. What does your bike say about you? I'm here in Port Dover, where every single bike on the planet is here. Every style, adventure bikes, cruisers, Supermoto, cafe, they're all here today. So let's take a look around and see if we can answer that question. What does your bike say about you? Okay, first up, we got adventure bikes, the giraffes of the motorcycle kingdom. These things are giant. If you're not 6'6", forget about it. You're not riding one of these things. Now they typically come with a whole set of boxes and aluminum top boxes, side cases. It's craziness. And they're big enough to pack a collapsible kayak. They're built like tanks. Skid plates thick enough to repel landmines and crash bars and full roll cages around the engine and frame. And they always carry big, huge beamed headlights and fog lamps thick enough to see through chocolate milk. It's madness. And stickers, don't get me started with stickers. These things, every single bit of real estate on those boxes are covered with stickers. Now, most of the guys who ride these things have watched Ewan McGregor's Long Way Around at least a dozen times, and they identify with him as some sort of nomadic soul, even though their bike hasn't seen dirt in at least 6 months. They dress like survivalists, typically with matching climb gear, modular helmets, you know, the ones that snap off here and fold up. And they're always spouting catchphrases like, the real adventure starts when the pavement ends. Okay, buddy, that's the adventure bike crew. Okay, next up, we have sport bikes. These machines are more weapons than they are motorcycles. Sleek, loud carbon fiber bullets that have enough horsepower to reverse the Earth's rotation. Every surface is razor sharp, and they're usually colored either neon green or bright red or maybe even flat black. And they always have some sort of aftermarket exhaust that is so loud it's obnoxious. Now the squids who pilot these rockets are typically between 19 and 35 years old, although mentally about 14. They treat yellow lights like MotoGP starts and lane choice like some sort of a suggestion. They usually wear one-piece leathers, carbon fiber helmets with some sort of a neon or rainbow-colored visor. They drink Monster Energy for breakfast, and they know exactly how fast their bike goes in second gear. Now deep down, they just want to be seen, and they usually are on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, pulling some kind of dank nooner, screaming through traffic, yelling into a helmet cam. And a typical catchphrase from one of these squids, "Bro, I wasn't even at half throttle." Okay, relax, buddy, you're great. Okay, next up we got cruisers. They're basically recliners with engines, complete with floorboards and windshields big enough to stop a deer, and saddlebags big enough to hold a barbecue grill, 10 steaks, and a guy who thinks he knows how to cook them. Now they also come with a cup holder, a GPS that hasn't been updated since 2012, and a stereo system that'll blast your ears off. Now they're mostly Goldwings or Vulcans or Indians, something like that. They're basically luxury sedans in motorcycle form. Most of them come with heated seats, reverse gears, stereo systems. Now the Harley versions, they're slightly different. They come with the badass uncle vibe. They usually have deep, loud exhaust, real high handlebars, a painted tank that's either a skull, an eagle, or an American flag, even if the guy lives in Winnipeg. Now the guys who ride these things are typically at least 45 years old plus. They own at least one vest covered in patches, and they consider the open road a cure for pretty much anything. Now these are the same guys who will ride 110 miles to go for breakfast at a place they've been going to since 1992. Now they're typically not in a rush because, hey, the journey is the destination. And if they go over 90 kilometers an hour, their hip acts up. And their catchphrase is, "I don't ride to add days to my life. I ride to forget what day it is." And for most of these guys, that isn't much of a stretch. Next up, Supermotos. Now these things are basically dirt bikes on 17-inch wheels. No knobbies, mostly slicks. And that's because traction's optional. It allows you to slide sideways into a 7-Eleven parking lot just to impress your buddies. Now there's no fairing, there's no bags, there's no protection. It's just basically a white knuckle frame with a pipe so loud it's been banned in most countries. They're light, they're aggressive, and look like they've been dropped 6 times just this morning. That's probably because they have. Now the guys who drive these things are likely your neighborhood's most unpredictable citizen. They don't believe in speed limits, insurance, or physics. And they ride it like they stole it twice. Now the stuff these guys wear is a weird blend of dirt bike gear, street protection, and stuff they found at the lost and found at the local indoor skate park. They take corners by sliding, and jumping curbs is just a way of lane splitting. And they're pretty much all banned from group rides just by default. These guys are stunt happy, wheelie prone, and physically incapable of using their signals. And these guys don't care what you ride, how fast you ride, how much horsepower your bike has. They just want to know if you can back it into a corner at 60 while you're texting. Next up, cafe racers. Now, these machines are less of a motorcycle and more of a vibe with spark plugs. They're all stripped down, fabricated in basements and backyards and dimly lit garages with jazz music playing in the background. Now, they usually start life as a mid-70s Honda or Yamaha, something like that, until someone comes along and removes 40% of the functionality in the name of aesthetics. And that means replacing the bars with some kind of clip-ons or clubman bars, installing really tiny bar end mirrors, and a super tiny speedo that's relocated up here somewhere that's useless. Oh, and there's also a tank full of patina, which means it's full of rust, because they just haven't got to that yet. Now, the guys who ride these things are part mechanic, part philosopher, and part barista. They wear open-faced helmets either with goggles or those amber-colored bubble shields, and sometimes a scarf. Now, they don't ride for speed, unlike the original cafe racers who would do 100 miles an hour between pubs. They called it doing a ton. Modern cafe rides are low-speed jaunts, less than 20 kilometers, mostly because that's as far as the bike can go before it needs some serious adjusting. A typical catchphrase, it's not about the horsepower, it's about the soul of the bike. Okay, next up, let's talk about those ultra custom show bikes. You know the ones I mean, all shiny and chromy. The ones that look like they were built by a tattoo artist with a welder and a dream. Now, these things aren't so much motorcycles as they are rolling peacocks. Swing arms as long as driveways, front wheels so big they create their own gravity, rear wheels so wide you measure the contact patch in square meters, and paint so deep, so much clear coat you can see your own midlife crisis in the reflection. It's wild. And they're typically covered in all kinds of airbrushed murals of flags and skulls and girls, all kinds of tack. Now, these bikes are typically very pristine, and I mean museum grade pristine, because they never see the light of day, never mind the open road. Now, most of the guys who own these Trailer Queen machines are perfectionists who have a flair for theatrical entrances. And their bike, it's their identity, as well as their Tinder profile picture. Now, there's a lot of interesting catchphrases these guys like to use, but one in particular sticks out in my mind. This one guy said, "My bike is worth more than your house, and it's worth every trophy." Okay, buddy. Next up, the Oddball Bunch. Now, this group is a glorious mashup of everything that makes motorcycle culture hilarious, unpredictable, and pretty fantastic. Stuff like those Honda Groms. You know, the little ones, those tiny bikes with big attitudes. They kind of look like a real sport bike that got shrunk down in a dryer. Crazy, but they're cool. Now, also included in this group is scooters, and they're not just city runabouts. These are the silent assassins of the streets. From Vespas to no-name screamers found on Marketplace, these things are piloted by everything from 17-year-old delivery drivers to 70-year-old scooter couples who ride in perfect formation at 30 kilometers an hour wearing bright orange safety vests. Oh, and they got special pockets sewn in just for their Werther's originals. And then there's the junkers, you know, the true slap wrenchers. Their toolbox is mostly made up of hammers, spoons, and a lot of baling wire. And their machines, well, they typically rattle like shopping carts and leak like a bad alibi. But they somehow manage to end up to every bike night. Now, no shade here, man, because this is the group I can best relate to. I'm one of those guys. So ride whatever you ride and ride however you want to ride it. It really doesn't matter. All right, wow, that was a great day in Dover. Saw a heap of bikes. We got to take a look at that whole idea about the psychology of motorcycles and what your motorcycle says about you. And ultimately, what I think we learned is it's really not what your motorcycle says about you, because that's everybody else's opinion. Who the hell is anybody else to say what your motorcycle says about you? Now, we're all pretty much guilty of making assumptions about people and about bikes based on what they're riding and what they're wearing. You can't escape it. It's all a grand illusion. Bottom line is we all ride bikes for different reasons, and we fix them up and make them our own by putting little baubles and stickers and changing things. seats or no seats, NOS bottles that really aren't NOS bottles. I mean, you look at this one. Yeah, this thing is an alcohol bottle. Guinness. So, cheers. And remember, we all ride bikes for different reasons. We're all out here just having fun. Don't judge people by what they ride or what they wear. Just get out there and ride. Simple as that. Harry, I got stuff to do. See ya.
My mom says love's not easy. Just keep your head held high. Bet people think I'm pretty fly right now. Maybe I'm going crazy. Can't catch a break lately. And I just wonder what you gotta do to get a little baby. You look amazing. I said it, I meant it. And I just wonder what you gotta do to get a little Legos and Cheetos. Part of the fly. It's Wingardium Leviosa. What you gotta do to get a little, what you gotta do.
Hey, this next one isn't just another video. It's a wake-up call. Have a look. You might be glad you did.